Welcome, dear listeners, to History with Herodotus, where we embark on a journey through the annals of time, uncovering the secrets of the past and illuminating the present. Today, we find ourselves in the midst of a most fascinating tale, one that has captivated historians and economists for centuries: the South Sea Bubble. This remarkable episode in financial history, which unfolded in the early 18th century, is a testament to human ingenuity, greed, and the unpredictable nature of markets. As we delve into the origins of this phenomenon, let us transport ourselves to the bustling streets of London, circa 1711. The air is thick with the smell of coal smoke, horse dung, and the distant hint of salt from the Thames. It is here in the heart of England's mercantile empire that the seeds of the South Sea Bubble were sown. On June 8, 1711, the British government granted a royal charter to the South Sea Company, giving it a monopoly on trade with Spain's colonies in South America. This charter was the brainchild of Robert Harley, the Lord Treasurer of England, who sought to strengthen Britain's economy and reduce its debt. The early history of the South Sea Company is marked by a series of clever maneuvers and strategic alliances. In 1713, the company negotiated a treaty with Spain, granting it a monopoly on trade with the Spanish colonies in South America. This agreement, known as the Asiento, gave the South Sea Company the exclusive right to supply African slaves to the Spanish colonies, a lucrative business that would generate enormous profits for the company's shareholders. The company's leaders, including its governor, Sir James Bateman, and its secretary, John Grigsby, worked tirelessly to establish trade agreements with Portugal, France, and other European powers, securing access to valuable commodities like sugar, tobacco, and textiles. As we walk through the streets of London during this period, we see the makings of a speculative bubble. The city is abuzz with excitement, as merchants, traders, and investors gather in coffee houses and taverns to discuss the latest news and opportunities. The South Sea Company's success has attracted a multitude of investors, from humble shopkeepers to noble lords, all eager to share in the profits of this exciting new venture. We see the likes of Isaac Newton, the famous mathematician and physicist, who would later invest heavily in the company, as well as other prominent figures like Alexander Pope and Jonathan Swift, who would write about the company's antics. The South Sea Company's headquarters, located on Threadneedle Street, becomes a hub of activity as investors flock to buy shares in the company. The company's agents and representatives fan out across the globe, establishing a network of trading posts, warehouses, and shipping routes that will facilitate the flow of goods and capital. As the company's fortunes grow, so does its influence, with politicians and nobles clamoring to get in on the action. The outlines of a story begin to emerge, one that will unfold with breathtaking rapidity as fortunes are made and lost, and the very fabric of the economy is tested. We see the makings of a speculative bubble, fueled by greed, ambition, and the promise of easy wealth. The South Sea Company's success has created a sense of euphoria, with investors convinced that the company's stock will continue to rise indefinitely. And so, dear listeners, we find ourselves at the threshold of a most extraordinary tale, one that will take us on a wild ride through the highs and lows of financial speculation. As we leave the earliest history of the South Sea Bubble behind, we prepare to enter the era of its greatest triumphs and most spectacular failures. Join me next as we explore the pivotal events that defined this remarkable episode in financial history, and discover how the intricate dance of human psychology, economics, and politics created one of the most enduring cautionary tales in the... Welcome back to History with Herodotus, where we're diving into the fascinating tale of the South Sea Bubble. It's 1720, and the South Sea Company is the darling of the London Stock Exchange. The company's stock price has been rising steadily, fueled by a combination of clever marketing, strategic alliances, and a healthy dose of speculation. Investors from all walks of life are clamoring to get in on the action, from aristocrats to merchants, and even clergy. The air is electric with excitement, as fortunes are being made overnight, and the promise of easy wealth has become an irresistible siren song. As we walk through the streets of London during this period, we see the city transformed into a giant casino. Coffee houses and taverns are abuzz with activity, as investors gathered to discuss the latest news and trade stocks. The South Sea Company's headquarters on Threadneedle Street is a hub of activity, with investors flocking to buy shares in the company. The company's agents and representatives are working around the clock to keep up with demand, as the stock price continues to soar. One of the most striking aspects of this period is the way in which the South Sea Company's success has created a sense of euphoria among investors. People are investing their life savings, borrowing money from friends and family, and even mortgaging their homes to get in on the action. The company's stock price is rising so quickly that it seems like a sure thing, and many investors are convinced that they can't lose. But as we delve deeper into this period, we also see signs of trouble brewing. The company's finances are becoming increasingly opaque, and there are rumors of shady dealings and corruption at the highest levels. The British government is starting to take notice, and there are whispers of a potential bubble bursting. Despite these warning signs, however, the South Sea Company's stock price continues to rise, fueled by a combination of greed, speculation, and a general sense of hysteria. As we explore this pivotal moment in financial history, we're reminded of the timeless lessons that can be learned from the South Sea Bubble. We see how human psychology, economics, and politics can combine to create a perfect storm of speculation and excess. We're also reminded of the dangers of unchecked greed and the importance of prudent regulation. And so, dear listeners, as we reach the pinnacle of the South Sea Company's success, we're also poised on the brink of a catastrophic collapse. The bubble is about to burst, and the consequences will be devastating. Join me next as we explore the decline and aftermath of the South Sea Bubble, and discover how this remarkable episode in financial history continues to shape our understanding of markets and human nature today. Welcome back to History with Herodotus, where we're exploring the fascinating tale of the South Sea Bubble. It's 1720, and the bubble has burst. The South Sea Company's stock price has plummeted, wiping out fortunes and leaving countless investors ruined. The streets of London are filled with the sounds of despair and desperation as people struggle to come to terms with their losses. The once mighty company is now on the brink of collapse, its reputation in tatters. As we explore this period, we see how the British government was forced to intervene, establishing a parliamentary committee to investigate the crisis. The committee's findings were damning, revealing widespread corruption and deceit at the highest levels of the company. The directors of the South Sea Company were accused of manipulating the stock price, using false information and propaganda to convince investors to buy shares. One of the most striking aspects of this period is the way in which the collapse of the South Sea Bubble affected not just investors, but also the broader economy. Trade and commerce ground to a halt as merchants and traders struggled to come to terms with their losses. The crisis even had an impact on the British government's finances, as tax revenues plummeted and the national debt soared. As we delve deeper into this period, we see how the collapse of the South Sea Bubble led to a period of soul-searching and reflection in Britain. There were calls for greater regulation and oversight of the financial sector, as well as demands for punishment and retribution against those responsible for the crisis. The British government responded by passing the Bubble Act, which prohibited the formation of new joint stock companies without royal charter. The collapse of the South Sea Bubble also had a profound impact on the development of modern capitalism. It highlighted the dangers of unchecked speculation and the importance of prudent regulation. It also led to the establishment of more robust financial institutions and regulatory frameworks designed to prevent similar crises from occurring in the future. As we look back on this remarkable episode in financial history, we're reminded of the timeless lessons that can be learned from the South Sea Bubble. We see how human psychology, economics, and politics can combine to create a perfect storm of speculation and excess. We're also reminded of the dangers of unchecked greed and the importance of prudent regulation. And so, dear listeners, as we concluded our exploration of the South Sea Bubble, we're left with a deeper understanding of the complexities and challenges of financial markets. We've seen how even the most seemingly robust systems can be vulnerable to collapse, and how the consequences of such collapses can be devastating. Join me next time on History with Herodotus, as we explore more fascinating tales from the world of history. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember that to understand the present, we must first understand the past.